The battlefield smelled of smoke, ozone, and the iron tang of blood. Even as the last plasma blast faded into silence, my ears rang with echoes of war. Bodies of men and machines lay scattered across the desolate valley. Our war had ended, not with a glorious charge, but with exhaustion, attrition, and too many graves. I was one of the survivors. My name is Captain Elias Dorn, soldier of the United Human Front, and on that day I should have been celebrating survival. Instead, my life was about to be rewritten by someone who wasn't even human. The first encounter. I had been scouting through the ruined plains of Zera, searching for stragglers when I saw her. She was unlike any alien I had encountered. Tall, poised, her movements fluid like liquid light. Her silver hair caught the dim sun and turned it into a crown, and her eyes, those violet, otherworldly eyes, glowed faintly even in the dust-filled air. She was wearing ceremonial armor, not the jagged battle gear her kind usually donned. That alone should have been my first warning. She wasn't just another warrior. She was someone higher, someone untouchable. When she saw me, she raised a hand, not to strike but to halt. "You're human," she said, her voice carrying a strange musical timbre, resonating as though two tones overlapped at once. "And you're what?" "My executioner," I answered, weapon half-raised. Instead of attacking, she tilted her head and studied me with unsettling calm. "If I were here to kill you, Captain Elias, you would already be dead." The fact she knew my name chilled me. And yet, there was something in her expression. Not malice, not triumph. Something closer to curiosity. The forbidden truth. Over the next days I would come to learn her name. Princess Serenia of the Aeliri Dominion, heir to one of the most powerful thrones in the known galaxy. She had been on Zera, for not as a soldier, but as an emissary. Her presence was meant to be symbolic, a reminder to her people that even war could not shake the will of their ruling house. But the war had gone wrong. Her entourage was slaughtered in an ambush, and she had been stranded behind enemy lines. That was how I found her. Alone, vulnerable, yet unbowed. Logic screamed at me to capture her. A princess of the Dominion could have been the bargaining piece humanity needed to secure peace. But when I looked at her, chained wasn't how I imagined her. Instead, I offered her water. That small act of mercy lit the spark of everything that followed. She told me about her world, her people's laws, the strict codes that governed Aeliri royalty. They were forbidden from consorting with other species. Forbidden even to touch those outside their caste without ritual sanction. Her bloodline was considered sacred, almost divine. And yet, night after night, as we hid from scouting drones and scavenging warbands, she sat closer to me. Her hand would brush against mine when she passed me food. Her eyes lingered too long when she thought I wasn't looking. Until one night, as embers from our fire painted her face in soft light, she whispered the words that would haunt me forever. "Loving you breaks every law I was born to uphold, but I can't walk away." The weight of desire. From that moment, the world seemed sharper, heavier. Every glance between us carried tension. Every silence was filled with what neither of us dared to say aloud. We should have parted ways. She should have sought her people, and I should have returned to mine. But fate, or perhaps choice, kept us together. Days turned into weeks as we navigated ruined cities and barren wastelands, avoiding patrols from both sides. Survival demanded trust, and trust soon bled into something deeper. One evening, while the rain poured down and we sheltered in the broken hull of a crashed ship, she reached for my hand. Her fingers were cool, trembling, not from fear, but from the weight of what that touch meant. In her culture, even such a small act was an unforgivable defiance. For her it was rebellion. For me it was salvation. I squeezed her hand, and in that moment, neither of us cared about laws, borders, or species. There was only us. The world that wouldn't let us be. But the galaxy is merciless. Word spread that the princess lived. Both human and Aeliri factions scoured the planet for her. To the Aeliri, her disappearance was an insult. To humanity she was a prize. One night, as the 2 moons of Zara rose, she confessed the cost of what we had done. "If they find us together," she said, her voice cracking, "you will not only die, they will make you suffer so all humanity remembers what happens when one of us is defiled. Me. I will be stripped of my name, my family, my throne. I will become nothing. Then let's disappear," I said, desperate. "Forget thrones. Forget armies. Just you and me, somewhere they'll never find us." For a heartbeat I saw her want it. Her eyes softened, her lips parted as if to say yes. But then the weight of centuries of law crushed her, and she shook her head. "We can dream it, Elias. But dreams cannot survive empires. Capture." The inevitable came like thunder. Aeliri forces descended, their ships blotting out the skies. We were cornered in the ruins of an ancient city, neon shields flickering as plasma bolts carved through stone. I fought like a madman, not for victory, but for her. She stood beside me, unleashing energy from her gauntlets that shattered enemies like glass. Together we carved a path through impossible odds, 2 souls fighting as one. But numbers overwhelmed us. I was dragged down, battered, bound. They ripped her from my arms, and I saw the look in her eyes. Not fear, but heartbreak. Even as they restrained her, her gaze never left me. She didn't beg, didn't cry. She simply mouthed words I'll never forget. "Forgive me." The trial of a princess. I later learned that Serenia was returned to her world and placed under judgment by the High Council. Her crime was not merely surviving, but daring to touch what was forbidden. No law existed for such a betrayal because none had ever been foolish or brave enough to commit it. She was confined to a glass tower, a living symbol of shame. As for me, humanity negotiated my release in a prisoner exchange, never knowing how close I had come to altering the fate of 2 civilizations. But freedom meant nothing without her. The last meeting. Years later, long after the war ended in uneasy stalemate, I returned to Aeliri space under the guise of a diplomat. It took bribes, lies, and the risk of execution, but I found her. She hadn't aged a day, her beauty frozen in time by her people's genetics. But her eyes carried the weight of 1,000 lonely nights. When she saw me, she didn't speak at first. She only reached for my hand through the glass barrier that separated us. "Elias," she whispered, voice trembling, "they told me you were dead." "I should be," I said, pressing my palm to hers through the barrier. "But I couldn't leave without seeing you one last time." Tears shimmered in her violet eyes. "I can never leave this place. I can never be yours." "Maybe not in their world," I said softly. "But in mine you always were." For a moment the galaxy fell away. It was just her hand against mine, glass between us, love stronger than every law meant to cage it. And though the universe forbade us, neither of us let go.